What's up guys, Jorge Contreras here, and I'm very excited to share with you how to become rich using the cash flow quadrant designed by Robert Kiyosaki, author of the #1 finance book of all time, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Now, why is it important for you to watch this video? Well, if you want to learn how to get out of debt, how to save money, how to invest money, how to save up for retirement, how to become an entrepreneur, a successful business owner, and ultimately how to become rich, then you want to make sure you stick around to the very end of this video. So without further ado, let's get started. So the cash flow quadrant talks about the 4 types of people that make up the world of business, and that is employees, self-employed, business owners, and investors. Now, what is it that determines why somebody would be in any one of these 4 quadrants? And the answer to that is mindset. And I'm going to go into each and every one, some of the values, some of the pros and cons of each one, and then I'm going to let you make a decision at the end to see which one is better for you. So I just noticed that there's a couple letters missing there, so let me fix that. All right, so let's begin. Employee. What do employees value? They value safety and security. But is it really safety and security, or is it a false sense of security? Why? Well, here's one of the things about being on the employee side. It's unfortunate, but whose family is it a priority? Is it the owner's family or the employer's family? So unfortunately, whenever things are not going well in a business, the first thing to go are employees. And this is one of the things that I don't like about this area. The next thing, number 2, is that it is a linear income. That means that every 6 months or so, you may get like a 50-cent or a $1 raise, and you got to pay 40 to 50% taxes on all of that income. So it's linear growth, meaning it is not exponential growth where one year you're making 40,000, the next year 80,000, and then 160, and then a $250,000. It doesn't work like that. It is a linear income model. Number 3 is that you are trading your hours for dollars. That means that in order for you to get paid, you have to trade in your hours. Again, trading your hours for dollars. The reason I don't like that is, what if you want to go on vacation for a whole month? Now, yeah, I know there's a lot of people that get 2 to 4 weeks, but I'm talking beyond that. What if you finish your vacation time and you want to go on more vacation? Well, there's a big problem. If you do go on vacation, you will stop getting paid. So in a job, in a JOB, which stands for just over broke, you have to be there physically. Number 4, working for money. Anytime you are working for money, you have a low ceiling as to how much money you can make. And that is because you can't have somebody else do the work for you and get paid. It has to be you clocked in, clock out, and that's it. You get paid for the hour and not for a result or an outcome. The last thing is, this is what I call the 40-40-40 trap. The 40-40-40 trap is when employees go to work for 40 hours a week for 40 years of their life to then retire on 40% of the income, which wasn't enough to live off of on the first place. Now let's go to the quadrant number 2, which is the S quadrant. And the most important thing about the S is that if you smash the like button, you will become rich. If you guys make that little thing turn blue, it truly helps out the algorithm on YouTube. Graham always talks about this, and I got it from him, smash the like button. And thanks for that, Graham. I really appreciate that. Anyways, let's go back to this. So S stands for self-employed. That is usually a one-man business or a one-woman business. It is that self-employed person that has that belief of,
if I want it done right, I have to do it myself.
But here's the thing, whenever you have that limiting belief and you do marketing, you do sales, you do customer service, you wear the marketing hat, you wear the sales hat, you wear the customer service hat. Like, you are wearing all the hats in the business, and so you have no leverage. And so one of the things about the S quadrant is that self-employed people run their business just like a job, meaning it only makes money when they are there physically trading their hours for dollars. A lot of people in the Rich Dad Poor Dad community call it stuck in the rat race, right? or the hamster wheel. Also, they can't go on vacation for 2 months, 3 months because they stop bringing in income. So again, they are trading their hours for dollars. They have no leverage. They do everything themselves. They have a very low ceiling as to how much money they can make. So in both of these quadrants, the reason they have a low ceiling is because the only way to make more money is to work more hours. And how many hours can you possibly work in a day? Even if you're working 12 or 14-hour days, you are hardly getting any sleep. You are sacrificing time away from the people you love. It just doesn't work that well. The next thing is that, there's a great book, by the way. It's called E-Myth Revised, and he talks about the 3 levels of entrepreneurship: the technician, the manager, and the visionary. So the technician is the doer. All they care about is, what do I do and how do I do it? And they just go do. That's it. They just do all day. They're just doing and doing. Anyways, would you guys guess that it's linear growth or exponential growth? Again, it is linear growth. Very, very small growth. So that's the S quadrant. Now, we also refer to this as the left side of the quadrant and this as the right side of the quadrant. So we want to get you to go from the left to the right. On the left side of the quadrant, you work for money. On the right side of the quadrant, money works for you. So now let's go into the next quadrant, and this is the B quadrant, which stands for business. This is a real business where you're making a lot of impact. You are changing people's lives, and the beautiful thing is that you don't have to be there physically as the business owner in order for it to make money and change people's lives. So number 1 is that you go from being the technician or the manager to being the visionary, where now you are working on the business and not in the business. Now you're working on the business. You are the visionary. Here, the mindset is, the less I work, the more money I make. Again, the less I work, the more money I make. I know that some of you are thinking,
but Jorge, how can you work less and make more money? That doesn't make sense.
And yeah, that might make sense if you're operating from the mindset of the left side of the quadrant, but on the right side of the quadrant, that's the mindset. The other benefit is taxes. Now, when you're an employee, employees pay about 40 to 50% of their income to taxes. Once they pay state, federal, Social Security, Medicare, it's about 40 to 50% of their income goes to taxes. When you're self-employed, it's about 40 to 60%. Why? They have all these business expenses, but they can't write off all of their business expenses because they don't have a proper business entity structure. They don't usually have like an LLC or corporation, so they pay taxes just like employees do. So the other benefit here on the business side is they pay about 20% of their income to taxes. Now, don't quote me, this is not financial advice and I'm not a CPA, but usually in a S corporation, the first $50,000 of profit are taxed at a 15% tax bracket. Again, I don't want you to go to your CPA and be like,
well, this guy named Jorge Contreras on YouTube said that I could pay less taxes if I got an S corporation.
Don't blame it on me, okay? The next thing is business owners on this side of the B quadrant. We build a team because we know that we are not the best at everything. We focus on the 10 to 20% of activities that generate 80 to 90% of the results. You look at a business model like Starbucks, right? It is said that 20% of the coffee drinks at Starbucks account for about 80% of their business. You see, not all things are created equal, because in any business, there's gonna be $10 activities, $15 activities, $25 activities, $50 activities, $100 activities, $1,000 activities. And as a business owner, you should focus on high income producing activities. Again, you should be focusing on high income producing activities, focusing on the few things that make the most amount of results. And you should delegate everything else that you choose not to be good at or that you are simply not good at, and only focus on your zone of genius so that you can maximize your efforts. The next thing that business owners have on the right side of the quadrant is systems. It is said that 90% of all businesses fail within the first 10 years when operated like a self-employed entrepreneur with no team, systems, or asset protection, and when they're doing all the work themselves like a technician. Now, whenever it's a franchise like a McDonald's, a Home Depot, an Apple, and Amazon, 75% of all franchises succeed after 10 years. Again, the difference is systems. The next thing is business owners have asset protection. They are not only good at creating wealth, but they're good at protecting. That's when they start hiring CPAs, attorneys. They set up their different entity structures like LLCs and corporations to protect themselves. Now let's go to the I quadrant. This is where investors live. This is where you go from working for money to having money work for you. This is really powerful because money does not go on break, doesn't go on lunch. Money does not go on vacation. Money doesn't whine or complain. And when done properly, it doesn't pay taxes. You know, there is earned income and then there's passive income. And passive income is taxed at a much lower rate. And passive income does not pay Social Security taxes. One of the biggest benefits is lower taxes, right? On the right side of the quadrant, the more money you make, the less taxes you pay when structured properly with the right CPAs. On the left side of the quadrant, the more money you make, the higher income tax bracket you go, the higher the taxes you pay. On the I quadrant, you also have maximum leverage. I mean, you could literally be chilling at the beach just counting your money. Anyway, so you could be counting your money at the beach, chilling, while your hard-earned money is making you more money. By the way, that was not real money, okay? It was fake. But anyway, so don't try to come to my house or nothing like that because it's fake money, okay? You could order it online. Anyway, so your money is working hard for you. You see, on the left side, you work hard for money. On the right side, money works hard for you. The next thing is that you're able to take your money and diversify it into multiple investment vehicles. So when you know how to make money work for you, you can say, you know what, I'm gonna take $100,000 and put it into real estate. I'm gonna take another $100,000 and put it into stocks. I'm gonna take another $100,000 and put it into some cryptocurrency. I'm gonna take another $100,000 and buy me a Tesla. Well, you see, we wouldn't take our money and buy a Tesla because a smart investor would actually take $100,000, buy a couple units, some rental properties, and then take the cash flow, the monthly profit from those rental properties, and have it pay for the Tesla. You see, this is when I talked about earlier how the difference between being on the left side of the quadrant and being on the right side of the quadrant is your mindset. You see, on the left side of the quadrant, the employee will take, $30,000 and they will go and buy a Tesla. But then what's going to happen 10 years later, that car is worth, it went from being $35,000 to being worth maybe under $10,000, if that. So that vehicle is just going to depreciate over time, and then the money is gone. So they will invest into things that depreciate over time, things that go down in value over time, where the investor, because their mindset works different, will take that money, will buy a Tesla, but the monthly payment will be paid from their rental property. So they will finance as much as possible and put up as little money out of pocket up front, finance everything they can to get the most amount of leverage and make the best use of their money. And then 72 or 84 months later, what do they still have? Cash flow producing assets that will pay for the next vehicle, the vacations, reinvest into more rental properties or more investments. So the mindset is very different. This is why the poor get poor, because they are on the left side of the quadrant, and the rich get richer because the way they operate is totally different from a perspective of mindset. Now here's the other thing. You could spend 25, 45, 50 years in a job. Can you pass on that job to your son, to your daughter? No, because it was never yours to begin with. So you're gonna spend your entire life building someone else's empire, building someone else's last name. In life, there are only two options. You either build your own empire or someone else will hire you to build theirs. And here's the thing, 95% of the population are in this quadrant, and only 5% of the population are in these quadrants. So here are a few examples of some of the people that you may recognize that live on this side of the quadrant. Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, Tony Robbins, Jorge Contreras. That's right, me. Yeah. Now, here's the thing, guys. Ultimately, there is no right or wrong. It is not a one size fits all. If you are totally comfortable here and you choose to be there because you truly love your job and you are changing people's lives and you just love it, that's great. I am so happy for you. That's amazing. Choose to stay there if you'd like. I'm happy for you. But here's the thing. It's been proven that 85% of employees are unsatisfied in their workplace. So if you want to become an entrepreneur and you want to learn how to build your own empire and how to become a business owner, you need to learn the mindset of the right side of the quadrant. So I recommend books like Rich Dad Poor Dad and the Cash Flow Quadrant, as they will go even more in depth into all of these strategies. Now, what I do know is that there are way more millionaires on the right side of the quadrant than there are on the left side of the quadrant. It's almost impossible to become a millionaire here unless you are the CEO of Coca-Cola, which probably half of 1% of millionaires are on this side of the quadrant. But the majority of rich and millionaire entrepreneurs operate as business owners or investors. Now, I have a question for you guys. From a percentage perspective, who pays more in taxes? The left side or the right side? Please let me know in the comments below. I will make sure to respond to each and every comment. Other than that, make sure you guys smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and make sure you guys add me on Instagram, because I post on Instagram every single day, and I want to let you guys know that I truly appreciate your support. Thank you for liking, subscribing, watching my videos. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.